All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We're going to be diving into the iMIS Data Management Suite, really with a focus on automation and what you can do with it. I'm JT Fiedler. I am the Product and Sales Advisor here at CSI, and I'm joined by
Doug Morris. I'm the founder and chief product officer here at CSI. And we are really lucky today. We have our two top support people at CSI, Lisa Pritchett and Billy Szymanski, have decided to join us because JT forgot to limit the attendance for this webinar. So we've got quite a few people on. And I was talking to a friend last night and said, I got a webinar with 200 people on it. And he said, you need more help. So they've decided to jump in. We'll talk about this. Anything you want to ask along the way, you can put in the chat. If you want everyone to see, Lisa and Billy will be answering those questions there as well. You can also put it in the Q&A. And if it's really good, they'll share it with everyone. So feel free to fire away questions as we go along. We're going to have some polls and some other things we're going to ask you to put in the chat, but Lisa and Billy will be here to help out with anything we need in the back end. So our really straightforward agenda here, we're going to quick about CSI, iDMS, and then we're really going to focus on what you can be automating. This is what we're really excited about with this webinar, because there's so much you can do with iMIS and the data management suite. We do have a present for you at the end that some of you may already know, some of you don't, but it's really cool and it's free. So that's exciting. And if we talk a little bit about who and what CSI is, we've been around since '92. We are the longest standing solution provider. And in 2001, we created our first product, which was iMerge. Today, as I mentioned, we have Billy and Lisa. We are unique among solution providers that we have two full-time support. They are there to help you with not only our products, but iMIS as well. So really, really lucky to have the two of them as part of CSI. The thing that drives us here at CSI are two things. One, constant, never-ending improvement. We always want to be getting better. So we're always asking for feedback on our product. We really want to know what could make it even better. I will tell you that Lisa and Billy are always actively adding to what we call our DevOps list of things we should add to the product, and we do add them. And at the end of the day, we really want to help more organizations. So the more we're helping, the better. So I'm hoping that at the end of this webinar, you're going to see some things that are going to make your organization even better via automation. Now, you might be saying, well, I'm on 2017. I can't do this, but you can. Almost everything we're going to show you and talk about today works with 2017. And if you're on EMS, self-hosted, 2020, or pure EMS, as we like to call it, they all work as well. So our product is great if you are on 2017 and planning on moving to EMS someday, or even not. But if you are, everything you do translates over. So we have a lot of clients that start on 2017, and when they migrate to EMS, they are still using the product. And as mentioned, we will have a present for you at the end. Okay. So we're going to talk about the iMIS Data Management Suite. We're going to go over real quick what it is, super fast, and then we're going to get into all the automation cool things you can do. But JT's got a quick little poll here because we're kind of curious how familiar you are with the Data Management Suite. And I like JT's fourth option here. I could be on CSI support, or on CSI support, with CSI support. I'm not really sure. But we're just curious just to get a gauge of where everybody stands. And if you're curious why JT is smiling a little bit right now, we did just cross a level with participants higher than we've ever had on a webinar, and I promised him a dinner. So he is smiling because I think he just saw the number eclipse. So if we could have 4 of you drop off, that would be great, because then I could not have to buy him dinner. All right, JT, how's our poll going? Yes.
This is why I was smiling, because we have 2 brave individuals who think they can join the CSI support team.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Perfect. All right. We're going to see our poll results.
Yes.
Bam. All right. Perfect. I love it. And I love the two. That's
Yes.
great. And thanks for everybody for voting. We'd love to chat with you. All right, G2, better get going. Okay. Now, we felt before we talk about all the great things you can automate, we're going to ask for your ideas here because we're going to share 9 things we think are super cool and super important. But we want you to know, we want to hear from you as well. That's one of the reasons why we want to limit attendance, or JT forgot to. But we want to hear from you and all the great things. But we can't really get you thinking about it unless we cover all the cool things you can do with the data management suite. So first off, you can import, update contact details, including addresses. So think about that in terms of a spreadsheet or an IQA. We can do the same thing with activities, insert, update, even delete activities. JT loves to delete activities because he'll bring them in and go, whoops, that didn't look right. And then he just deletes the ones he brought in. And of course, that includes committees because committees are truly activities as well. Panel data, standalone and or multi-instance and or single panel instance data can all be inserted, updated, and deleted. Super cool. Payments. This is something new. If you've ever heard of the lockbox importer, we added the ability to import payments. So you can bring in dues payments, event payments, order payments, even prepayments. We've got some clients that are going and giving their new members a credit to use for future stuff. And they can do that all automatically with the data management suite. We added event registrations last year, super fun, bringing the full event, including all the accounting and fun stuff. So if you're using a third party, you can go ahead and do that. And communication, right? So you've got your communication log. I don't know if you've ever noticed the communication log, you can't delete anything from there. So anything that's in there is stuck. Well, not with the data management suite. You can actually delete stuff that's in the communication log. And then you can go set communication preferences. This makes it super powerful for deciding who should get the newsletter or who shouldn't get the newsletter and fun things like that. We're going to keep going. Remember orders. I can actually create an order automatically with the data management suite by someone clicking a button in Rise. How cool is that? If someone said, I want that free book, they can click one button and the order will automatically be generated behind the scenes. So that's like pure automation. And of course, those orders have full accounting and batch transactions. Subscriptions, we're going to talk about those. We've done so much more with them, and you'll see it on the next one with renewals. So subscriptions are really, really powerful because you can insert, update, and now delete, because ASI is allowing us to delete subscriptions. Our newest thing is renewals. Really, really, really cool. You can actually generate renewals now in iMIS, including accrual dues batches. Woohoo! For our fundraising clients, gifts and pledges, we have those out there now as well. So you can bring in gifts, pledges, and all that fun stuff. Relationships, insert, update, and yes, you can delete relationships. We like to say it's the relationship killer, but no one ever laughs at that. And then finally, users, insert and delete. You can't change users, but you can delete, which is really cool. So we're going to talk about some use cases there for automation. And don't forget user roles as well. And then finally, for you DBA types here, if you ever have to bring in new billing products or new committee codes or update gen lookup tables or bring in gift items, we just added this inventory receipts and even products. All these can be brought in mass to iMIS with the data management suite. So fun stuff there. We have clients that have sets of billing products for each year, and now they can just bring them in mass. They don't need to go manually type them all into iMIS. So that can save a lot of time as well. Okay, not supposed to put a lot of words on slides, but here it is, right? This is what automation is from the Google. And the Google basically says, hey, it's performing repetitive tasks, using software and technology that normally you'd have to do manually. And really our goal here is to improve efficiency, speed, and accuracy. And in each thing we're going to show you, we're going to talk about how the 9 things we're going to show you today do each of those. And then JT is going to give you a little taste of how they're done, including a video. Rather than show you how we do each and everything, we're going to give you videos that you can watch later. So trying to be really respectful of your time.
Okay, so now that Doug has given us kind of an overview of everything that iDMS can do, I wanted to take a pause for a minute and we want this to obviously be interactive. So did you just see anything that gave you an idea of what you could maybe automate today with iMIS? Anything for those of you that are on iDMS and use it? Is there anything that you're already doing that you want to possibly share with people? And I'll pause for a second and see, put those into kind of the chat, and we'll see what people are kind of using. All right. Courtney says they have some cool webhooks, which is they're using the iMIS Data Management Suite 4. Mark is loving the order importer. Jeff, the lockbox importer.
Holy
Got some
cow,
company
this is great
flowdown.
stuff. We're gonna just end the video. We're gonna just be done now.
Mass data updates. Awesome.
Committee attendance low. That's cool.
Making changes to subscriptions.
Bumblebee
updates. Yes, these are all great use cases that people are using it for. So feel free to continue to add in the chat what you're using it for. But with that, let's jump into the 9 things that we think are very important.
Okay, this is the number one thing. If you have the iMIS Data Management Suite, we think you should be. This is so easy to do, and JT's going to show you in 3.5 minutes how you can turn this on. Unlocking user accounts, right? So we want to find locked user accounts and unlock them. So as we talk about what automation is, it's repetitive, right? Everybody locks themselves out every day, or you have members that lock themselves out every day, all the time. So efficiency, speed, accuracy, right? Well, they lock themselves out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days. And so we can now quickly unlock them. We have accuracy because we're not missing anybody. This happens in seconds, and ultimately it's going to make your end user experience better. What are some of the benefits? Well, if you think about it, it's 1 minute to unlock someone. 10 minutes per members per day might lock themselves out. And I don't think you can see it on here. There it is. Up to 40 hours per year saved. So we're just playing with numbers here, but we're like, gosh, if you did have 10 members locking themselves out every day and it took 1 minute each time, that's 40 hours per year you could save just by automating this. JT, tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So in each kind of example Doug talks about, I'm going to show you kind of the basics of what it will take, the steps behind it. And then at the end, there's going to be a link to a video. All of these videos can be found on our YouTube channel. So you can implement these today if you have iDMS. And if you don't, I can help you get to that and allow you to be able to implement these down the road to kind of elevate your organization. So this is kind of what the IQA filter might look like for finding locked out users. It's very simple. It's just looking for is locked out to be true. And then from there, it's just going to be using iUpdate. And we're going to use that IQA, and we're going to just simply update those kind of returned records and unlock their accounts. And then the power is obviously being able to schedule it. So schedule this on a hourly basis. So you set it, forget it, and you eliminate that manual work. And so there's kind of the short link to it, but I'll go ahead and I'll share the video and walk through what this would look like. So essentially, once again, we're going to just simply create an IQA query within iMIS. So if we just go to the IQA section, we'll go into the appropriate folder. And from here, we can just see unlock user accounts. We take a quick look. We're using the user data business object as our source. And then we just have that one filter. And we just want it to return those people who have their account locked out. Here's the display. Just quickly touching on this, you only really need the iMIS ID, but you can have really whatever column you want. And we can see there are just one individual who has locked themselves out. So how we accomplish this is we'll just go to iUpdate, and this is where we'll select our IQA from iMIS. You'll notice that the layout that you see here for iDMS is a bit different, but the functionality and kind of the steps to accomplish what you're looking to do is the same. So we'll select Update. From here, we're going to do our mappings. So we'll go to Contact or Contact Details. iMIS ID goes to the ID, and we're going to match on that. So we only want to be updating the returned IDs in our given IQA. We'll go ahead and hit Save on that. And then the only other mapping we need is we'll just go to User Credentials and then Unlock User Account. We want this to be a true statement, so we'll put the number 1, or we could put true, anything that's going to unlock the user's account. We'll go ahead and simply just hit Save. And like I mentioned, those are the only 2 mappings we need. So we could run this right now, but obviously the real power of this is automating it to run. So what we will do is we'll go ahead and schedule it as a task. When we schedule it as a task, we'll just give it a name. So you can name it whatever, a description, and then obviously schedule it to run. So you can kind of pick your frequency depending on your business or organization workflow and what makes the most appropriate sense for you. So you have hour, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. And so then once you do select that, I've already saved this as a job. So I'm just going to run this manually. So if we just continue with update, it's reading the rows in our IQA, it's finding that individual, and it's unlocking their account. So if we go jump back to iMIS, we'll rerun this IQA. And when we do run it, we'll notice there are now no locked out users. That's kind of just a quick and easy way of you being able to have that be in your own iMIS instance and really drive and improve member experience and how they can see the value your organization provides.
Saw a note from Connie there. Can we add an email letting them know they've been unlocked? And yes, Connie, we're actually going to cover that in one of our 9 things here, which is really, really cool. Okay, so thanks, JT. That's a little flavor for iDMS if you've never seen it and just how easy it is to use. We're not going to do that on each of these, but you will see JT put a link in the end of almost all of these that shows you how to do this on your own. So the next thing we're going to talk about, the things that you should be automating, we think really, really can make a difference, is updating your member type or statuses. So in its most basic form, you're looking for expired or incorrect member types and statuses that need to be updated. So they could be expired, right? Their paid through date is in the past, but they're still a member. Or what if they actually are supposed to be a member, but their member type is incorrect? So you can actually go both ways with this, right? You can change expired people to non-members or change people that shouldn't be a non-member back to members. Or if you'd like to play with statuses and make people inactive, you can do that as well. Now, this is in iMIS, right? So great, I could do this in iMIS already. What do I need the iDMS? Well, think about this. They expire every month or maybe every day, depending what you're doing. Okay, so this is a repetitive thing. And we really want to make this automatic, and you want to do it on your preferred day. I know a lot of our clients are like, we expire everybody on the 15th of the following month from when they expire. Well, if the 15th happens on a Sunday, nobody's running that in iMIS. And if Julie's the one that's responsible for writing that, but she's in Cabo next week, guess what? People get an extra couple of days of membership, maybe a week, 3 or whatever. Or if Julie's no longer there, you got a big problem. So what are some of the benefits? No more free membership. It saves minutes, right? It doesn't take that long to go in and do the expiration or the member type change in iMIS. But what about the membership benefits, right? These people that are getting or not getting membership benefits, there's a cost to that. So really updating the member type or status is something you can and should automate. It's super easy.
Yes, just like how Doug's been saying, this one's also very simple to implement. So for this example, I'm just looking for someone whose paid through date is less than today, and they are still an associate member. So you can also, like Doug mentioned, go the other way. So if someone has a paid through in the future, but they aren't a member, you can clean up that data and really drive data integrity in your organization. The possibilities really are endless here for what your org might want to do with member type and status automation. But essentially, when you have your IQA, you'll just use iUpdate, and that iUpdate job is going to update the members to the appropriate member type or status that you want. So an example would be all expired associate members, change them to a non-member. And then obviously scheduling this. Like Doug mentioned, it doesn't take a ton of time, but in today's world, you can't get time back. And so automating as many things as you can is going to allow you to focus your time on what you do best and continuing to advance your organization's mission and vision. And so there is the link as well. I will point out that all the links will be https and then csi.ms/something. So in this case, it's update mem types, and you'll kind of see that common theme throughout.
Okay, so we think that the easiest, if you can get people to log in, that's the most important thing, right? In fact, we're going to talk about one of the things where you're actually tracking how many people log in. And so nothing is worse than someone trying to remember their username and password. We are going to give Travis credit. Travis with Causes, he does some cool stuff. They've set up some things that makes the person's login always their email address. So if they change their email address, they actually get a new login, which is really cool. So you can do that. You can drop incorrect logins, and then you can create user credentials for either those that you've just dropped or our new members. So how cool would it be to have a new member go, hey, listen, we've already set up your login. Go ahead and click here to either reset your password, or you could give them a clue. Your password is the last 5 of your postal code plus your middle initial plus whatever. So you could do some fun things like that as well. You think about this, right? You've got new members joining every day. You've got people changing their email address. So we can tick off the repetitive checkbox. Efficiency, right? This is going to happen instantly when someone joins in the middle of the night. You know, even though we can have iMIS automatically create this stuff, this is really cool because it can do it for them and send them an email. And it will automatically delete everything. Some of the benefits, well, guess what? You know, if I know my login is dmorris@csiinc.com, that's pretty huge. And I don't know how much time it saves, right? It's going to save your time. It's going to save the membership's benefit, the members' time. It's going to do all these things. So make a decision at your organization, what you're going to do with the user credentials, and try to streamline it.
Yes, and due to kind of lack of time as we progress through these, I'm only going to show how to kind of set new user credentials. But remember what Doug mentioned, you can delete user credentials too. So you could remove incorrect ones where maybe the email address doesn't match, and you can replace them with new ones. So this is kind of what the IQA is or would look like. Essentially, it's just finding people who don't have user credentials and has an active email address and an active status. We're going to then use iUpdate to create the username, and maybe we want to have it be their email address. So we can have that in our IQA, and then give them a password. So like Doug mentioned, it could be a static one that you just put in the input field in iDMS, or you could create kind of a custom SQL formatted one in the IQA. So you can give them a hint into what that kind of password may be, and then schedule this to run. So everyone's going to be able to have user credentials, and their user credentials are going to be up to date. And so there's kind of the link you can use to find that. Just create credentials. And I will be sending out or creating a delete one and how that kind of would interact with iDMS and iMIS.
Thanks, JT. Okay, so this is one we don't have a real good example. I mean, we have lots of examples, but we don't have a video. But what about creating dues and subscriptions? If you're an iMIS pro, you know that dues and subscriptions are probably one of the most powerful parts of iMIS, but they can also be one of the more frustrating one, right? And so the ability to add subscription products or remove subscription products is super powerful. So maybe someone wants the journal and you just want them to tick a checkbox. Well, that we can add that now, that subscription to their record. So we have the ability to do some cool stuff. You could even, I just posted on ASAE the other day, what about adding a discount? So I could add a discount product out there that then goes away after the early bird. So you could get people to actually pay for their dues early. So let's just say our dues are due on January 1st, and we offer a 5% discount if you pay by November 30th. On December 1st at 12:01 a.m., I can make that product code disappear so nobody else gets the discount. So you can do some really cool automation. So let's think about it. It's repetitive, right? It's going to follow our rules. Everyone's going to have the correct subscription at all times. It's much quicker. If you've ever added a subscription item to someone, it takes a little time. And like I said, the benefits are endless. You can do early bird discounts. You aren't going to lose any dues revenue because someone's missing a subscription product or anything like that. So this is super powerful. We're not going to let JT talk on this because this is sort of anything you might want to do with the product. So in terms of subscriptions, but now it dovetails nicely into renewals. This is brand new. Not a lot of people are using it yet, but it's super, super cool. So I can now automatically generate renewals using iDMS. So for my new members, member type changes, or just my regular renewals that I'm having to run manually every month. From a repetitive perspective, that's daily or monthly. I'm starting to lose it here. It's super efficient, right? We don't forget to generate renewals. I did have a client many years ago. Their marketing got involved and wanted to make a new renewal. So it looked pretty, and they were going to make it. They're going to send this out, and it was going to be colored and everything. And marketing never finished it, and they stopped sending out renewals for 4 months because they were waiting on marketing, and marketing was waiting on them. So think about this: if the person who is in charge of running renewals at your organization, if they're to leave, you better have someone that's going to replace them. With iDMS, you don't have to worry about it. The generation of renewals can be automatic. What does that mean? Well, like I said, you're never going to have any missed months. You're never going to have Bob go on vacation and forget to run billing. How much savings does it take to go in there and actually run renewals? I don't know. I kind of guessed 4 hours, kind of making up some of these numbers here, but maybe 4 hours per year savings. And this is a very different sort of thing of how you do it in the data management suite. JT is going to touch on it real quick, and then we're going to talk about where the video is.
Yes. So Doug did do a nice video on this, and I'll put the link at the bottom. But like Doug mentioned, generating renewals with iDMS is very similar to doing them yourself in iMIS. It is just obviously automated, so eliminating that manual work. The key is that your data source or your IQA should only return a single record. Doug covers it well in his video, but imagine if your dues renewals ran automatically. So no monthly running of dues, rebills can happen automatically if someone changes member types. The possibilities are really endless. And so taking a quick look at the IQA, for this, we're just wanting to return one ID. From there, we're just going to do iUpdate. And so our mappings are going to contain the billing cycle, the run name, effective date. So having today, the today's date column in the IQA, which the video will outline. And then is renewals, setting that to be true. So those are the core ones or core mappings you need to automate this today. And then obviously remove that manual work. So schedule it to run automatically. And so there's the link, just / dues billing, and you'll be able to implement this today for your organization.
Okay, for you trade organizations or anybody that has company member type flowdown stuff, this is super cool. If we think about NIAG, I'm on the board of NIAG. If you join NIAG, the iMIS users group, it's great. CSI joins it, and everybody that is attached to the CSI record now has member benefits. Well, that means someone has to go in and change every one of those attached records and have a new member type, if you will. And then when CSI doesn't pay their NIAG benefits and we get dropped, all of the people attached to CSI should have a new member type as well, so they don't get benefits. So this is really kind of something you do with trade organizations. You can also do it for regular flowdown. iMIS has flowdown built in, but some people like to do some custom flowdown rules, and you can do that with the data management suite as well. Once again, repetitive. Think about the amount of time it takes to go switch every one of those attached records to have a new member type. You can do this super fast. It's going to happen within the hour. You're not going to miss anybody. And if you had a large roster of people, it could save you minimum 40 hours a year. And so the fact is, we're making up those hours. We really don't know how much time it's going to save you. It's going to be dependent on how big you are. So how big your organization is. JT?
Yes. So this one's easy as well. You just need to find individuals attached to a given company who have the wrong member type. From there, you can go and set it. So in my example here, if a company becomes a company member, I want all individuals to be individual members. Of course, I would also do the opposite. So when a company stopped being a member, we'll want to update them to a non-member individual. And so this process really gives you the ability to control benefits that members are receiving. So in this IQA, this is how you would find people who the company is a company member. We're not looking for companies, and does not equal regular member. So we want to go in and find people in that. From here, we'll just do another iUpdate job, and we're going to update the individual's member type to member individual. And we're going to set it and forget it so we don't have to run it, and we'll ensure that the flowdown rule and flowdown process for our organization or company records is up to date. And so the video to access that is just / company flowdown, and that will give you the ability to implement that if you are a trade association.
Thanks, JT. So this is the thing that we talked about earlier. And there was a question, hey, listen, I want to let the member know we did something to their record. Well, process automation is awesome for that. And we can do that, but process automation can't trigger off a lot of things you might be doing with automation. For instance, if I create new user credentials or I change user credentials, process automation doesn't really know, but I can write an activity with the data management suite, and process automation can trigger off of that activity. So this gets super neat, where I'm going to give Travis Campbell credit again for causes. This is what they do. Whenever they change a member's user credentials, they send them an email, and they do that with process automation. And they do that because they write an activity with the data management suite when something happens. So super powerful. It's repetitive, right? We're going to automatically get these things out. We're going to save some time. It's going to be super efficient. I don't have to have a user going out there running an IQA of who had their information changed and then sending them personal emails. We don't miss any records. And the fact is, members get to claim their account quickly. This is just one example, but we're writing an activity with the data management suite based on something happening in iMIS. So really, really cool. JT?
Yes. So in this example, it's when we create their user credentials, and in this case, we filter within a day. We want to create an activity. And so we'll use that IQA to identify those individuals who we just created their user credentials, and we're going to add an activity to their given iMIS record. And that is going to be something we schedule. We don't want to remember to manually run it. And then once that activity is created, we're going to use PA Plus to send out the communication to inform them of their username and password. So this is kind of just a way to trigger kind of a PA Plus task from an iDMS task or insertion of an activity onto an iMIS record. And so how you access that is just /create activity.
All right, we're going to go a little bit quicker here because I promised you 45 minutes and we're running a little behind. Tracking membership logins and counts. Really, the data management suite can really help you automate this. You don't have to use the data management suite for that, but it's really, really powerful. So it's something you should be doing every day, right? Every week, every month, you should be doing that. You don't really want to have to assign a staff person to find out how many members or logins you had today and add it to a panel. You want that happening automatically. And the benefits are you get to see your membership login trends over time. And that gives you some idea of whether people are actually actively engaging with your organization and where your member counts are going.
Yes, I show this kind of example all the time to customers, and it's very easy. And there's videos that we have that allow you to easily have this in your own organization. So the IQA is just filtering on the member types that we actually want to track. And then from there, we're using iUpdate to take that snapshot of member counts, depending on the frequency you want, and populating it to a panel. Most important part is to schedule it. And you can even take it a step further and display the panel data for others on staff to be able to see it. And so if we take a look at what that looks like in iMIS, this is just the panel. It's every day it's running and it's populating a new line. And then you can further either export that into Excel to create graphs, or you can see up here, I don't have an image of it, but you can display that in iMIS visually. And then same thing with logins. So this is tracking login counts. And then you can also, once again, create a visual for people on staff to visually be able to see their trends and kind of report on membership as well as login counts.
All right, last but not least, triggering database actions. This is where it gets so super powerful, right? I want to go ahead and fire off an automation when a member joins, or maybe when they buy something, or maybe when they become part of a committee, right? This happens all the time, okay? Add them to a committee when they join. That was an example we did. Maybe when they order a journal, we always like, well, I want someone to be able to subscribe to the journal. Well, that's really kind of an order, but it will be a subscription going forward. Cool. Make it a product that they can buy and then add it to their subscription for next year. What about a member just ticking a checkbox saying, I want to be on a committee? How easy would that be to just instantly add them on there? Think about how efficient and fast this is. It's instant, no staff involvement, no mistakes. I can't even begin to calculate the benefits. We have a whole webinar on it. It's there on the screen. It's super, super powerful. Okay, so, JT, cover what we did.
Yes, quickly touching on everything we just went over, because I want you to kind of think and see if you have any new ideas that you heard that you're like, yes, I want to implement these today. So feel free to put those in the chat. We started off with unlocking user accounts. So this is going to drive the member experience and be able to eliminate kind of that administrative headache and burden you have. Updating member types or status, so ensuring your data is clean. Creating, and we didn't see deleting, but you can also delete credentials to make it even easier for people to log in. Creating dues subscriptions based on your roles or rules, so you can add people to a section or chapter, or even do that prepayment credit option that Doug mentioned. Generating renewals, brand new, eliminates that manual work by automating that process for you. Company flowdown, so automatically change individuals' member types based on the company member type. Creating an activity when something happens in iMIS. So in our example, when user credentials are created, we want to send them an email that outlines what their username and password is. Tracking membership and login counts. So this gives you insights into trends, and you can get data points and things like that and reflect on how you are doing from a membership as well as a value provided perspective. And then last is triggering iDMS. So you can have iDMS jobs be triggered in real time when something happens in iMIS. So in closing, I'm excited that over 375 customers are using iDMS for automations like these today. And if you are one of those 375, I hope you learned something new that you can put into your own organization. But here come some stats for iDMS today. So there are a ton of scheduled and triggered jobs that run every day. There's around 3,200. That number was taken a few months back, so it's just going to continue to grow. So I believe it's probably more than that. And a key is that there's no additional charge for iDMS usage. So you can have as much data passes through iDMS, and you're not going to get an extra bill or anything like that based on how often you're using iDMS. Now I'll pause here. Anything else you want to share in the chat that you thought was cool, or even an idea that we didn't cover? I'd love to see what ideas are out there that we can kind of discuss. And while people are typing in the chat, here's some kind of important links. So before we get to the present, you may already know these or bookmark these, but all of our documentation is public. So you can just go to docs.csiinc.com. We have a listserv as well. So if you are using our products and you want to ask people, hey, I'm trying to accomplish this, where or how can I accomplish it? You can always use our listserv. And then with all of our annual subscriptions, support is included. You saw Billy and Lisa earlier. They head up support. And so we always want to be able to help you be successful using our solutions. And then if you don't have iDMS already, feel free to reach out to sales@csiinc.com and we can get you started. All right, Doug, I think it is present time.
All right, so we're going to go over this really quick. We're right at the time that we promised. So you got to hang around if you want your free present here. And I'm hoping you already know about this, but maybe you don't. They are going to introduce you to something called the iMIS Experience Plus. And the iMIS Experience Plus is a browser add-in for your iMIS. And you can run it in Chrome or Edge. Please don't ask about Firefox. My developers don't like Firefox. It's not my decision there. But what is the iMIS Experience Plus? Well, first off, this is what your IQAs look like today. And then once you install it, ooh, they get pretty, right? We get new icons and everything. You're like, Doug, I'm not going to download something for that. Okay, but wait, there's more. So right now, these are what your filters look like. Has anybody ever forgotten to click that little plus button and, said something inappropriate? You probably have. Well, so have we. So once you have the browser, the iMIS Experience Plus on, that turns into a commit button. And guess what? You can't hit save. You can't get off that. So that commit button gets a lot harder to miss. So adding filters becomes easier. Okay, we're on our way. We're on our way. How about SQL? A lot of people put SQL in their IQAs to make it much more powerful. And the problem is if you make a mistake, you got to copy it, you got to re-add it, you got to do all this. Wouldn't it be cool if there was an edit button? Boom, you just click your edit button now and you can go edit your SQL down below and then just hit add and it will be back. So we've added that too, which is nice. That was the first part of our iMIS Experience Plus. We just enhanced it last year. We won the iMIS App Challenge at the ASI Innovations Conference, and we did that by adding even more to our free browser extension. Matthew Dempsey at our office said, I want to make, actually, this was Jake. Jake said, I want to make the editing Rise pages easier. So here's what he did. This is what your current managed content page might look like. It's all right. There's some things that annoy me, like that configure link. This is what it looks like with the add-in turned on. First, Jake, of course, had to make everything look pretty again. He hated the fact that you had to do work to copy something, so he just added a copy button in there. My favorite part is this preview mode. It gets rid of all the other malarkey that's on that page. I think that's cool. He also made it very clear which section of content you were editing. So when you hover over it, it highlights. Made it much easier to read what the content sections are and the ability to add. My favorite part is that silly little configure line is now a pretty icon, like a gear icon, like it's supposed to be. And then the ability to drag and drop content and know where it's going. I ruin so many pages and have to hit cancel. They don't even let me in Rise anymore. And now with this, I'm ruining far fewer pages in Rise, which is really, really cool. So that is what we did to Rise. But wait, there's more. If you're new to iMIS and or new to EMS, you have seen that there's a lot of areas to click on. In fact, there's over 275 different things you can click on in iMIS, so looking for stuff. And as you probably know, finding stuff can be a little tricky. And even if you know where you're going, it's a whole bunch of clicks. So we want to make it easier. This was Matthew Dempsey, and he added this part. So here we go. I'm now in iMIS, and now I have a nice little button up here that I can click, or a shortcut key I can use, and it pulls up what's known as the work bar. From the work bar, I can type in anything I'm looking for or to in iMIS. So notice you see everything listed in iMIS. All 275 of those things are listed here now, and I can search to them. Well, what are some examples? Well, let's say I want to create an IQA. Type IQA and click new query. I guarantee you that's faster with my shortcut key than going to Rise IQA new. How about gen tables? We're always updating tables, right? Just type in gen and click on gen tables. You're instantly there editing it in iMIS. Changing tax, anyone? Got a new year, new taxes? Just type tax and it'll take you right to the tax codes. I like this. I can go to products, just like the keyword search in iMIS. I can use the keyword search here, so I only have one spot to go to. Type in an iMIS ID, just like the old desktop. Type that in, hit enter, and you will go right to that person's record. There's more still. We can't forget about the ability to edit user credentials. The person calls and says, here's my credentials. Just type that in and you can go right to their user credentials. So if they give you their username, you can pull up their credentials instantly. No searching for them or anything like that. For our event people, type in your conference code. That's all you have to do for the event code, and you can go right to the dashboard or the event details. No more clicking around and finding that event. So if you know the code, you can get instantly there. How about iMIS Help? It's so awesome right now. You can search the iMIS documentation using this now too. So type in Data Showcase. It'll take you right to the Data Showcase feature of iMIS. So it's going to search the iMIS Help as well if you want. And then, of course, let's see. Do we have anything else in there? No, I think that's pretty good for now. That is the iMIS Experience Plus. And it's free. How do you get it? Well, it's really hard. You go to the Google and you type iMIS Experience. It should be the first hit right there. And when you click on that, it's going to ask you, do you want to install it into Chrome or Edge? Once you do that, you can configure it. I call it the toast icon. I don't know what it's supposed to be called, but I think it's toast. So you click that little icon in your browser. And when you do that, you're going to see your iMIS Experience Plus. And when you click on that, you can now turn on your IQA editor that I showed you, the Rise page editor, the work bar. So my control spacebar brings up my work bar. So I go control spacebar, IQ, and I click on new IQA, and I'm creating a new IQA instantly. So that's how fast that is because I'm using that. So that's all out there. We love your feedback. I'm seeing Courtney put a little thing in there. JT is going to tell you how to put in requests for all that with, I think, our final slide. Yes, thank you, JT.
Yeah, so if you do, Courtney, want to send that over to support@csiinc.com, that is how we will be able to kind of put that on development's radar and get that resolved. Then once again, here's a link to our documentation site, docs.csiinc.com, our listserv, and then if you don't have iDMS, but you want to kind of dive deeper into it and walk through other use cases, feel free to send an email to sales@csiinc.com.
Oof.
And with that, we'll open it up to questions.
I think there's been a ton. We've answered 20 questions in the Q&A. There's been a ton of chat going on. I realized that I responded to Kelly and Kelly and Jennifer to just the panelists. So I did make that public. I think Billy and Lisa have been answering stuff in the chat. If we did not answer your question, feel free to email support or sales there. We do have a listserv there that's for questions. So if you are a user of our product and you're interested in hearing what other people are doing, our listserv is on that screen. That's designed to get people interacting with each other. Hey, look at this cool thing I did with iDMS. Hey, I'll share how I did it. So feel free to join that. There's no charge for that. As mentioned by JT, I believe support is no charge. And usage is no charge. So once you license our product, you can beat the you know what out of it, and it will just continue to work and be happy to automate everything you do. So thank you very much. Sorry, we went about 7 minutes over with the gift, but really appreciate you guys. Sorry, so many people in this, but it was our highest attended webinar ever, and I hope it was worthwhile. JT did mention there will be a survey going out. We'd love your feedback. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and I will send out the recording. All right. I hope everyone has a great rest of the week and a great weekend.